Only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley Davidson of Statesville or go to TillyHD.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. As you head through your morning, those clouds will start to roll in. We're looking at a mostly cloudy afternoon with your high temperature getting up near 69 degrees. Into the evening, clouds will stick around, but that overnight low won't be as bad, only getting down to 51 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Purple Heart Homes presents Putting the Pieces Back Together, a forum for veterans and the community to connect. Here are your hosts, veterans John Gallina and Brad Borders.
Welcome to today's episode of Putting the Pieces Back Together, where you're sure to get a good laugh. If nothing else, we got Devin here with us, and he's going to keep us on our toes. That's what Marines do.
Keep you on your toes. Heck, I'm surprised to see you here. You were gone last week on your secret mission.
I have been gone. It wasn't so secret.
No. Well,
it wasn't so secret.
Well, Brad told me it was secret.
Well, I mean, the Secret Service was there, but it wasn't so secret.
The Secret Service. That does sound exciting.
Yeah.
Is that something we can talk about, or is that a secret?
So we had a great visit with President George W. Bush, and I got to do a little recording with him for a special edition of Military Makeover that'll be coming up and airing in November.
Holy smokes, that's amazing.
Yeah, so we just kept it secret from you.
Yeah, I noticed I wasn't invited to go visit.
Well, you had to do a security background check with the Secret Service, and we were worried about the Marine.
Listen,
I'm thankful I got Bates here to help protect me today. As I'm in the room without Chap, and I'm worried about the Marine.
All the worst things that I did, the government told me to do. So.
I somehow don't believe that.
That's probably not true.
Yeah.
Oh my!
Well, we're excited about being on the show with you today. We've certainly had an exciting few weeks. Lots of events, lots of projects happening for Purple Heart Homes and for the veterans that we serve. And we got some really exciting things coming up here over the next several weeks too.
Yeah, there's a golf tournament. I believe. I believe Tim Bates may be on the committee for that golf tournament. He might could tell us a little bit about that.
Not only on the committee, we're playing. My brother-in-law is flying down from Michigan.
All right.
It's October 27th, next Friday. We're playing at Rocky River Country Club in Concord. Beautiful course. We were out there a couple weeks ago. The greens are in great shape. Fairways are great.
And there's even an attack eagle that's out there.
There is.
Attack eagle?
Yeah. They got a hawk out there, and it swoops down, but it's close over by the driving range. You just got to watch out for it. If you don't have any hair, you might want to wear a hat. Just so doesn't think it's an egg.
The reflection messes with its depth perception, and it might run into you. That happened a couple years ago. Yeah. I mean, really, it is a hawk. It's not an eagle, but the hawk attacked a bald dude out on the course.
Are you serious? My gosh, I'm gonna have to wear a bandana or something if I go out there.
He immediately put on a hat.
A do-rag. Do we have any Purple Heart Home do-rags? I'm looking.
No Purple Heart Homes do-rags.
Oh my.
Yep. So my brother-in-law's flying down. He's the one that hit you with the golf ball last year.
Oh yeah. I'm staying off the course this year.
I still owe him $20.
I'll tell you, if you've never been hit by a golf ball, don't. It hurts. It hurts.
And I understand that we're supposed to also have a special driver out there. Is that correct?
I don't know anything about us. Oh, yeah. We've got the rifle will be out there shooting on, I think it's hole 13. You put your golf ball launcher in there, and it shoots it down there pretty far. So,
yeah, it's great mulligan package for sure. So if you hadn't signed up, you'd like to come out and support the cause, check out the website, phhusa.org. Click on the events tab, and you will find the annual Purple Heart Homes Golf Tournament there where you can sign up. You can be a sponsor, you can play and participate, or if you'd like, you can sponsor a veteran team to come out and play and participate. So great show, great event. And so, Devin, why don't you introduce our guests here today for us?
Well, we have the amazing Chuck Harris, who is an Army veteran, retired, and he has had a lot of experience. He was in both Vietnam and Desert Storm and just everything in between, and also now the president of the local American Legion. Hey, Chuck, you want to introduce yourself? Say hi.
Yeah, my name is Chuck Harris. I'm the commander of American Legion Post 65 in Statesville. Like Devin said, I'm a Army veteran. My career started back in 1967. And to tell you a little bit about what was going on in 1967, Vietnam was hot and heavy. Walter Cronkite was pretty popular. So I used to watch the news loyally every night at 6 o'clock to watch Walter Cronkite. And in that, I got to see what was going on in Vietnam. And what really resonated with me was there was a lot of, I call them ground pounders, infantry. And most of the footage was of that career branch. And I said, I don't want to do that. I do not want to be infantry in Vietnam. So a lot of people were getting drafted at that time, and I said, well, one sure way not to do that
You picked your path, right?
is to enlist. Yeah. So long story short, I scored out on my ASFAB. For some reason, I was smart enough to get into aviation. At that time, the two highest scores go to the medical branch as well as aviation. So I got in there, and I enjoyed it so well that I stayed for almost 28 years.
28 years.
Now let's just call us out here real quick. You're not just with any American Legion post. You are with a special and very active American Legion post right here in our own community in Statesville, Post 65.
That is a gross understatement.
It is a gross understatement. So we got just a couple minutes for our break. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you guys got going on there at Post 65.
Well, we're one of the largest posts. We've got 270 members, and that's just veterans. Along with that, we've got an auxiliary, which is most of their spouses and girlfriends. We've got sons, which are the relatives of somebody that served. And we've got American Legion Riders, which is a motorcycle group of our post. We do a lot of community type things. We do a lot of funerals, way too many funerals for the local funeral homes and families. But it's just a great family-orientated group, and we're proud to support Purple Heart Homes, and they do amazing things for Post 65 as well.
Thank you for that. And, you guys are just really special and dear to us. And, I think about all the different posts. I think you guys have the coolest piece of yard art in America. And
Yeah, that thing's cool.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's actually a Vietnam War veteran. It started off as a G model Cobra, and it went from G model Cobras all the way to S model Cobras. And 2 months ago at our meeting, we actually had a pilot that flew that thing in Vietnam.
Wow.
He just happened to show up. So I guess the stars kind of got together, and it was amazing.
He actually flew that very helicopter.
Yep, and each aircraft's got a unique tail number, and he just came to the post and happened to look at that tail number and says, dang, that's the Kentucky woman. I flew that bird.
You guys had a lot of vets come through here recently on motorcycles doing a big American Legion ride.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And we'd love to hear a little bit more about that. We're going to go to our commercial break. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
More putting the
Hey, caller, you got me? You're a liar.
Oh my.
You guys are back live.
So sometimes during the break, we will talk about our favorite acronyms. Do you have any favorite acronyms? And this is okay. We're not currently on the radio. We're on Facebook Live. So if you've got a
Nothing comes up. I mean, I've got a million of them, but it kind of got me on the spot.
I know. I should have warned you about favorite acronyms before. Bates, you got a favorite acronym?
FUBAR is pretty good.
FUBAR. We have mentioned FUBAR
Snafu.
before. Snafu. And what is snafu? It's a
Situation normal.
Oh yes, situation or y'all are gonna have to look that one up if you. I know that we're technically not regulated by the FCC, but we're probably still not going to say that on Facebook.
Might not be regulated by the FCC, but you are regulated by Purple Heart Homes.
That's correct, and yeah, I decided we'll avoid that one right there.
That's why we don't allow you to sing cadences. That's why we don't allow you to do a lot of things.
I would love to sing some. That's what we should do during the breaks. Let's sing cadence. You can break out your cadence singing voice,
Nope.
can't you? No,
Nope. Not gonna happen.
Chuck, you got a favorite cadence? I'm getting the blank stare. He's like, I'm not.
I don't know, but I've been told.
Not after snafu.
Oh yeah. I think my favorite one had something about two old ladies and
Yeah. Well, then there was the one about the yellow bird.
Oh,
Yeah. I like that one. Then there was the one about the Eskimos.
the Eskimos. Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. There's that one.
There are quite a few of them out there that we just can't sing on air.
I am so sorry for all you listeners who don't get to hear the things that we can't say. But hey, if you ever want to visit us at Purple Heart Homes, take a tour. Maybe we can get John to clue you in.
You know, I'm really sorry for all of those that are.
Your mic's in 30 seconds. That way you can have that audio play before you're back.
Awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got something special going on,
A
Dad?
couple of new things we're trying out.
Oh, okay.
It's
I'll let
not
you know
my
about
deal,
the
but
other one later in the show.
Oh, surprises for John. Might be
Yes.
surprises for Devin later too. Who knows?
oh yeah,
boy.
surprises for Devin. As in like
Hey, before we go back, let me just say I had a great time with you and your bride at the Tribute for the Troops gala here the other night.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
a great.
Were you there?
I was there.
I
Chuck
thought
was
I saw
there.
you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great
All right,
event.
guys, mics are off.
Now more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Yeah, all right. Welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together. And we are glad to be here with our friend Chuck Harris, Army veteran. And Chuck, before we cut over to break, you were telling us a little bit about that Cobra, that not to be confused with the Snake, but the Cobra helicopter that you guys had parked out there in front of the American Legion post. And you guys had an American Legion ride here recently, and it wasn't coast to coast, but you had a couple of hundred bikers come through.
And they generally stop at our post for a break.
Yeah.
And if they're smart enough to let us know they're coming, we'll have refreshment and just kind of let their hair down before they get back on the road. But getting back to the aircraft, it's kind of unique because the unit that I was part of that built up going to Vietnam, we took the very first Cobras to Vietnam in '68.
Really?
And it was not one of those. It was not that particular aircraft, but it was. A Cobra.
It was of that design.
Right.
Now that Cobra may not be the Snake, but I bet the bite is just as bad, right?
Well, the strategy on those aircraft was they call it Hunter killer teams, and the Hunter was called OH-6 Loach, a little bird, and that would get down actually into the trees. Well, the Cobra was flying at about 300 feet, just orbiting around the little bird, and the mission of the little bird was to draw fire. And once they would reveal their location by shooting at the little bird, it was a bad day.
Oh man, I bet that was a sight to see there.
But you start putting a couple of 2.7-pound rockets on them.
Yeah,
It creates a bad memory.
for somebody,
Traumatic brain injury.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so I like that little bad dad joke you had that you threw in there.
Well, you know,
the whole snake bite, cobra, that was kind of cool. I was talking to you earlier about seeing President Bush out in Dallas.
Yeah.
You know who else I saw last week?
I please tell me.
Everybody I looked at.
And yeah, oh man,
It wasn't as bad as the snake
The
joke.
engineer is giving us the thumbs down. He said we just lost 6 listeners, and we only had 7. So that's
Yeah, right. All right. So
my.
you did a tour in '68 in Vietnam, and that was as a pilot. Is that right?
No, I
was
was not a pilot. I was a crew member.
Oh, crew member. Okay. And tell us a little bit about that.
It was all your days in Vietnam were long days.
Yeah.
And long days, I would say, average day maybe 18 hours, 20 hours, some 24 hours. It depends upon the what was going on, what the enemy was doing, if friendlies were in contact, things like that, and you would actually the op tempo was designated by what was going on out there. If you had friendlies in contact, you don't go to bed until they're not in contact any longer. If that means that you're flying or you're supporting them till you're exhausted, in aviation, you just have somebody relieve you on station, and you go back so you can fly safely, and that just goes around the clock.
Just a constant rotation.
Right. And I mean, during TETA 68, all you do is rearm, salvo, 24/7. I mean, there was so much contact out there that the only way you're going to slow it up is by dumping lead on it. And that wasn't just for aviation. That was the whole friendly forces that did that.
That must have been exhausting, and I can't imagine what that does to you mentally when you're just constantly having to fight that fight, and you don't know when it's going to end, and so many of our Vietnam veterans were faced with those same conditions, and that's one of the things at Purple Heart Homes that one of the reasons why we want to focus on the Vietnam era and Korean veterans is because their war was so much different than the ones that we fought in. And so I want to thank you for your service and being part of that. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because I once spoke with you about your experience coming back from Vietnam, and then later on you had a different experience. Would you like to tell us about that a little bit?
Before I do that, I'd like to share an experience I had with Reboot, because
Absolutely.
that kind of brings the whole thing back together. So, like I said earlier, the United States in '68 was not a real fun place to be if you were a service person. Rioting in the streets, kind of like maybe 2 years ago when all the United States was burning because of the people just rioting because they're a bunch of idiots. But that's what was going on throughout the entire country, and it was all against the military.
Yeah.
They could not understand what the United States was doing in Vietnam, and it went from there. So when you come back from Vietnam, the experience was not pleasant. The rioting, it carried over to disrespect of the troops when they came back. You would, most of the time, you would have civilian clothes with you, so when you got off the airplane, first thing you'd do is get rid of your uniform, because all they want to do is fight you, spit on you, And that went on probably through, well, for me, through 68, and it ended in about 72 when the Vietnam wound down. But there was really hard feelings for a long time. So to go fast forward, I was in the 82nd for a lot of years, and our job was to kick the door down and then follow on troops to come in and do the rest of the fighting. But anyway, August the 10th is when the desert started, and I was on the first C5 bringing Apaches in. And we had a guy by the name of Prince Turkey. He's telling us to take our C5 off of his airfield.
Prince Turkey.
And he actually got to talk to me. But anyway, when we came back, I was on the first bird coming back. And I don't know if that was divine guidance or whatever, but anyway, that first bird came in through New York. I guess it's called Kennedy, whatever that airport is, the big airport in New York
JFK.
City.
JFK, yeah.
JFK. Well, they had fire trucks out there. They had about 10 fire trucks on each side of the tarmac, and they were shooting water over our airplane. We pulled into park, and the whole airplane unloaded. Well, once we got inside the terminal, it was wall-to-wall people that were supporting us, shaking our hands, patting our backs, and I was one of the very few that got to witness both experiences. But just to tell you about what's going on over at Purple Heart Homes, Brad Borders and Devin, we were in a class. It was a 12-week class called Reboot, and what us old farts and new farts would actually witness was we don't know how screwed up we are. And I've been married for 52 years, and my wife, she could tell you how screwed up I was.
Believe me, it don't matter if you've been married for 5 days. She can tell you.
Yeah, they can always tell you.
but she's quite vocal, and she would tell me, and I said, hey, you're talking to the wrong guy. But through that conversation, I was actually the only Vietnam veteran in that class, but we had other deployment experiences there. And through that experience, we all had a commonality that we were all basically combat veterans. And we all, I could talk about something in combat, and I say, yeah, that should happen to me too. So in that conversation, on breaks, we would get together and just hash it out. And after that 12th class, we are still in contact with each other, and that's over a year ago. So.
Such a great program, and just a couple of thoughts that just come to my mind I want to share with you. I find it so amazing at the differences in the way that veterans are treated when they come home, and it's part of what our book about. Welcome. Oh my gosh, Wounded Homecoming. Can't even remember the name of my own book.
Wow.
Wounded Homecoming, and and this idea, and part of for me what the realization was when we returned home. We landed in Bangor, Maine, and it was the first place we touched down on American soil. And it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and there were 7 Vietnam veterans standing there waiting, saluting us as we got off the plane. And I remember thinking to myself, man, why are all these guys out here? They should be in bed, And I just, saluted and just kept on walking. I thought, man, they're nuts. A couple of years later, the impact that it had on me to realize their, particularly Vietnam veterans' intentionality to make sure that we were welcomed home the proper way has had a profound impact, not on me and just myself personally, but on how we focus on Vietnam veterans. And so we'll be right back. We're going to cut to a quick break. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes here on WSIC News Talk Now.
There's There's more Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on the way from the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
By population, it's the most, certainly in Ardell County.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So with that many Vietnam veterans, does that mean the post is kind of aging then?
I think him too.
Maturing. That's, I didn't mean to throw that out there like that. I just
You know that's
that landed like a fart, didn't it?
but that's a real issue that we've got across the board in the United States, not just in American Legion, but the mean age in our post is 73.
That's wow. The
And
median age.
Yep.
Wow.
And that's just in the service members. So we've tried different ways to crack the code on Afghan veterans, but we just haven't been able to do that yet. We're starting to get some younger veterans in, but it's just, I'm not sure what.
Well, I'm just curious. We've had this conversation a number of times, and this question just kind of popped into my mind as I'm listening to you. How old were you when you joined the American Legion?
How do you what?
How old were you when you joined the American
That's
Legion?
a good question.
Well, let's see, I'm 75, so
You and
10 years ago, I was 65.
okay. So I mean, you think about the average age of the Iraq, Afghanistan veterans, might not quite be there just yet. But I like how Devin insinuated that I ask dumb questions sometimes.
You know,
He did, didn't he? Yeah, like it was like he was surprised. Like, John, you finally stepped up and asked a good question. Devin, we're going to have some counseling afterwards.
oh my!
We're going to go into the locker room for some of that wall-to-wall counseling.
Wall to wall. Well, that's better than the pink slip that I saw on your desk. I was hoping you weren't writing those today.
Well, I wasn't planning to, but there are a few blank ones.
Oh man.
Yeah, so let's get back.
One of the things that we're exploring is going around to the reserve and guard units around here,
Oh, yeah.
because we'll go all the way back to the desert. That's when they really started deploying some of these units that had never deployed before. In Statesville, the group that the National Guard belongs to here, it's the first time since World War II that the group deployed.
Yeah.
So back then, I was working at a company called Thorlo, and we make socks.
Yeah.
So
Y'all gave us boxes and boxes and boxes of socks.
$110,000 worth.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to get with the chain of command and say, hey, we'd like to start, partnering with these young studs and tell them what's going on, and not coming down like this, but coming at it like a brother.
Yeah.
And see if we get anything out of that.
Well, I think one of the unique things too about the National Guard and Reserves, you have so many that are veterans, right? They meet the requirement to be an American Legion, but they think, well, I'm still wearing a uniform, so I can't join an American Legion.
That's not true.
That's not true, right? They can join, and so just because you're maybe still in, if you've deployed to a foreign country,
if you served one day,
Yeah.
you're a veteran and you can join the American Legion.
yeah. So
that's awesome.
Really a lot of people out there that can join and reap those benefits and be a part of that camaraderie and be a part of that family that probably don't even realize it.
And they have the auxiliary, so you can bring your spouse along and can be included as well. Which thanks a lot, Chuck. Now you roped me in through my wife. she's
You're
intending
more than
on
welcome.
making us come.
Yeah, Chuck, as we get ready to go back, live on the radio here, I just want to say one more thing, for our listeners. I think is important. American Legion, I think a lot of people have this misconception that it's just simply a bar and where people are hanging out and do so much. You guys, in particular, are very active posts in the community, doing a lot of good in the community. Absolutely. And have supported a lot of Purple Heart Homes projects and a lot of projects for other nonprofits through your partnerships and through the work you do. And so I'd encourage folks to don't don't just think that every book is the same, right? Go in, open it up, read it, get to know them, and figure it out. And even if it is maybe the same as what you think, figure out how you can help make it better.
Absolutely.
And it is
Well
alcohol-free posts.
There he is again.
Putting the pieces back together continues now. Here are your hosts, John Gallina and Brad Borders on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
All right, Devin, let's hear it. You got any more wisecracks towards me?
Just, hey, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, where hopefully Devin gets to keep his job. And
yeah, hopefully Brad comes back soon. I need Brad.
You know, I think maybe we should take a break from what I have to say. And
Speaking of what you had to say, you know, I was really amazed at the Tribute for the Troops Gala this past week with you and your bride, and in the process, I heard that you were going around asking people for prayers.
Asking people for prayers?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to.
To pray for the buttons on your shirt.
Oh, that's bad.
Wow.
Shots fired.
Oh, man. That is, wow. I'm speechless for once. I don't even, that hurt. That
hurt. I'm
see the
just
tears
doing
forming in the
I'm just doing what your wife told me to do. I am properly trained and domesticated. I know when a woman speaks that I answer. I do what I'm told to do.
I maybe had to purchase a new shirt in order to go to the gala.
But I'm going to tell you, old JD's food over there, it was great. If you missed that event, you missed a spectacular meal.
Oh man, it was phenomenal, and I was so happy to be invited. Both as
man, what a tear-jerking just concert. I mean, just unbelievable.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, the Tribute Troops had their annual dinner, and they brought all the Gold Star families locally. And honestly, there were times where I literally teared up.
I'll make one correction. There weren't all there, but
not all
there
there, I'm
was
sorry.
a bunch of them there. And to
Yes.
hear all the names that were read, it was, I don't know, Chuck, what do you think? Maybe 200 names of men and women that had passed and been killed in service, and just to hear the bell ring for every name that was read, and then for Rocky Lynn's song that he played.
Absolutely.
Oh man, it broke me down like a shotgun.
And if you didn't feel it when those family members said the name of their lost one, and you could hear them choke in their voice, man, you don't have a heart.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was certainly a moving experience just as a whole. And, you know, I feel so blessed to call Statesville, North Carolina home, and just Iredell County as a whole. And, you know, I really do believe we are if not we are one of the most patriotic communities and states in America. And it just goes to what we were speaking with Chuck about, and this idea of service and getting involved, and whether it's an American Legion post, Tribute for the Troops, Purple Heart Homes, so many great organizations. And what I love the most about our community is no matter which one of those organizations, there's so many more, the willingness to work together for the common good and the benefit of those that are in need. And I think that really epitomizes the veteran, right? That it's not that we went and fought. It's not that we wanted to fight. It's that we care about how other people live, and that they can enjoy freedom. And that goes through so many different realms of what freedom is. But really appreciate you being here with us today, Chuck, and sharing some of your stories. And we're going to come back to you here just in a minute. But first, we're going to hear from Mr. Bates, and he is going to share a little bit with us about Purple Heart Homes Project of the Week.
Yeah, this week it's Mr. Aaron Cash. He is 94 years young. He lives in Dade City, Florida. His roof, he's got a flat roof and it's leaking, and he's got old electrical through the whole house, and he needs that fixed. During the winter months, he gets cold and chilly, and so they can't plug in space heaters or anything like that because they'll pop and everything else in the house. A little bit background on this Mr. Cash, who's a true hero. was over in Korea. His first tour over there, he received a Bronze Star for saving a colonel's life. And then after that had happened, him and his a fellow soldier, a grenade hit the side of their truck, blew up. When they fell out of the truck, they were slashed with a bayonet by a Korean soldier. Oh, my. And then butt stroked with it. I guess he must have been on ammo or something. Luckily, another Jeep came up, so the guy took off. They came back. They got bandaged up. He came back to the States and was actually a bodyguard for one of the scientists who created a nerve gas. Went back over, volunteered to go back over, and when he went over the second time, he was part of the Frozen Chosen. I don't know if you've ever heard that story, but it's like, and it was mostly Marines, but there was some Army that had got, their units had got destroyed or were basically broken up, so they joined that group out there. Anyways, he's in need. So I found luckily we had a phone call. Aunt Tammy received a phone call a couple weeks ago from a Greg Beasley who lives down there. He's a roofer. They had no idea about Mr. and Cash, but he wanted to do something to help us out. I got a hold of him. He's working diligently to get his people to supply the materials, and then he's going to put in a lot of money as far as doing the wood material and all the labor for the roof. But we still need, donations and that sort for his electrical work to be pulled out. So.
Great opportunity, folks, to get involved and support. And there's so much need out there, and it's typically it's not just one thing in a home, right? It's it can be a couple of issues. And Tim, I know we've had you on the show quite a few times, just as a guest, sharing different things. And I guess this is probably my first time being on here with you as a co-host, and so glad to be on here with you. But how many projects have you completed this year so far?
This year I'm up at 39 now, I think, for this year.
And so I know that's it's rewarding to be able to make the difference in those lives, but I can also understand the emotional stress just seeing how these different veterans have need and how challenging it can be to find that support for them. And so just kind of putting you on the spot for a minute, how does this make you feel about Mr. Cash? I mean, 94-year-old veteran.
So just being this time of year, and some of our grants have been utilized for this year. So when that comes up, it hurts because his daughter talks about the winter's coming and it's gonna be cold in his house, and she's not sure if he can make it through without this electrical work done. So we do have some amazing people at Purple Heart Homes. Joel Dalton is working diligently, and there's a little funny story on that too. He lives in Dade City, Florida, so I googled that and it came up with the county. So I told him the county. So he reached out to all the county commissioners and the mayor and all that, and emailed them a big long, hey, if there's any way to support it. Come to find out, he doesn't actually live in that county. so,
but if they want to contribute,
Joel are good friends, and so he had to kind of reach back out to them. But it's up. It's going to work out, and I just feel like it's going to work out. So
I know there's just literally millions of great Americans out there that want to get involved, want to support, and want to make sure that our veterans have the heat, have the security and peace of mind that they enjoy each day as well. So thank you for all that work that you're doing, and I think you're doing a great job here on the show. And maybe we need to talk about you replacing Devin.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Oh, I forgot. Devin's here with me still. Wait a minute. We'll talk about that later when we get back to that pink slip on my desk.
Oh. Wow, it looks like I'm being.
You got
pushed
any more
out
great
the door.
comments?
Yeah,
that was actually a good comment.
It was a good comment.
Yeah, sort of like that great question.
Oh man, the shade being thrown my way today. It's
have you missed me yet?
Honestly, I gotta say, I'm.
He's gonna look at your calendar, soon you're gonna be gone again.
I feel like I should hold my comments till the end of the show.
That's
we'll
terrible.
leave it with that.
That's terrible. Why is the show? Why is Joe giving a thumbs up now?
I think Joe was.
You were telling me he's giving me a thumbs down about my bad dad joke. Now he's giving me a thumbs up. What's that saying?
Again, at a loss for words.
Are you ready for a break?
Is it coming up for gosh sake? I am ready.
You're drowning. You're drowning.
I'm drowning. For the listeners that are out there, if you want to save my job, go to phhusa.org and just tell them. We're going to be right back after these messages. You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together.
Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders will return after this short break on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Want to enjoy a night of magic? Eric Jones, a worldwide
You're on the radio, so you can make
award-winning
whatever
magician,
comment you like.
is
Just
coming
make sure it's
to
radio
Center for the Arts Saturday, October
I sounded
28th.
like a motorboat
Buy your
over there,
tickets
didn't I?
before they sell out. Canards.org.
comment
Eric Jones, the
out
magician,
about,
Saturday, October 20th.
how the VA and American Legion interact, because there's a lot of veterans out there that they either don't know about VA or they've got bad press and they won't. But I can tell you that I don't know if you knew Benny Wilhelm or not.
I did not.
He was a Vietnam veteran that ended up passing because of Agent Orange issues. But anyway, he started us in a conversation with the VA and the local Veteran Service Office, and we actually have classes over at our post for the VA, with VA coming into our post for knuckleheads that says I'm not going to mess with the VA. Well, the way I go around that one, I said, I ain't going to talk to you about VA unless your wife's sitting right there.
That's a pretty good idea. You know, I wish somebody would have done that with me. I spent 20 years avoiding the VA, and the first time I went to them, I had a great experience. I'm not sure. You get that in your head that it's not that they do a bad job and that they're going to do. And then it's just not true. I've had nothing but good experiences with the VA, and I've only been going to them for about 3 months. But everything, the thing is they are there to focus on your medical needs. They're not there to take care of your whole life. That's not what the VA's job is. What's that?
That's not true.
What, that they're not there to take care of your whole life? They're
Right.
Yeah.
They've got staff to take care of. I can't think of one need that you could have that they could not support.
Well, I could think of how do I say this? I cannot think of one need that you have that they could not solve with a pill.
I hear that a lot as well.
That's I mean, that's been my experience. They give a lot of pills out.
They do
I don't
that.
need a pill. I'd rather deal with my problems and my side effects. I mean,
You need to join our post.
yeah.
15 seconds.
I probably do need to get a little more involved with the American Legion.
I went from 10% disabled to 100% disabled, and
Mike's on.
It's Putting the Pieces Back Together with John Gallina and Brad Borders on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, welcome back to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes, where you are here live with us at WSIC News Talk Now. And we are joined by Vietnam veteran Chuck Harris, member of American Legion Post 65 right here in Statesville. We are thrilled to have you here with us, Chuck. And this last part of the segment, the only thing I'm going to ask is that you talk the whole time so I don't have to talk to Devin no more on the show.
Oh, wow. I almost got fired during the break.
wonderful.
I went outside and got my pink slip out of the car ready for you.
Well, Chuck, let's
See,
get to
you're still talking, Devin. So Chuck, you sharing a little bit with us about your service, how you joined the service, what it was like coming home. Now share, if you don't mind, share with us a little bit about what it's like to serve other veterans. And I know during some of our breaks we've been talking about recruiting to get younger veterans in, but why is it important for you to see the work continue through the American Legion?
I guess the bottom line is that I discovered a long time ago that the military is just a bunch of brothers. It doesn't matter whether you're a Marine, sailor, Army. It doesn't matter. You've got the same purpose. You've got the same experiences, and I guess bashful is a good word here. A lot of the veterans are bashful to ask for help after they find out that they do have an issue. But if I can just take a minute and tell you one of the things that our post does, and we've got a lot of Vietnam veterans, but there are a lot of veterans. But we discovered that you're entitled to get taken care of by our government, and that arm is the VA. So with the VA, a lot of veterans they said, well, I've had a bad experience one time, or whatever that's about. But you got to be tenacious, and Post 65 has got a lot of people. It's got a lot of experience with the VA. So even if you don't join our post, the third Tuesday of every month, we've got a veterans coffee, and we have we've got VA people. We've got whatever you would like to talk about to take care of you. So that's what I'd personally get out of it: the ability to help people, give them the knowledge to help themselves, which early on for me wasn't there.
What time is that? You said every third Tuesday?
It's every third week of the month, Tuesday, at 9 o'clock at Post 65.
Okay.
And we always have somebody that somebody has to be there. This past week we had our VSO, our new VSO for Ardell County.
Who is that? I haven't met him yet.
His last name's Feemster. I can't remember his first name, but he's only been there like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll have to bring him down to Purple Heart Homes, give him a tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll grab him and give you a call and tell you on his way, because he seems to be a pretty straight up guy, willing to do the right things for veterans.
That's great. You know, and I think there's something really unique and special in the process and the relationship with the veteran community coming together as they're applying for various disabilities through the VA, and you've got to use the exact right specific language, right? Mm-hmm. That if you say hurt, for instance, versus injured, it has a difference in how it's perceived by the raters and by the folks that are processing those claims. And so they're looking for certain key words. And if you're not using those key words, even though it might mean the same thing, then it gets kicked back. And then if you don't make that reply within a certain number of days, it's like an insurance company. Well, it's been accepted, right? Mm-hmm. You accepted our no, and so therefore it's no. It's always going to be no. But if you if you reapply and if you rebut their no, then you can change that language and you can see progress and success. And sometimes it's all about proving it, right? And a little known fact that most veterans are not aware of is that you can go into the VA and the VA doctor can say no. But then if you go to a private doctor and a private doctor says yes, there's a form that you can fill out with the private doctor's opinion, and the VA has to accept that private doctor's opinion. And so, I mean, there's little nuanced things that if you don't know how to navigate this, mammoth system we call the VA, then you might just get lost in the process. So.
They send you a lot of paperwork, and there's a lot of language in there that's not for the common folks to read either. So.
And sometimes it's paperwork to tell you that they sent you paperwork and to remind you that you got more paperwork to fill out.
Don't even get me started on VA math, because I'm still trying to figure that out.
2 and 1 does not make 3. 2 and 1 makes 2.1.
Exactly.
Well, I'll give you a class on the VA math sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
I can give you a real quick deal on the VSO, and there's just like everybody in the world, there's a good one, there's a bad one. But the job of a VSO is to get you to navigate that bureaucracy. And just to give you an example, you hear a lot of people get turned down for Agent Orange. Well, there's a thing called presumptive. If you stepped 1 foot in Vietnam, you are presumed to have Agent Orange. But a lot of VSOs didn't know that. So when you go in there and say, I'm just a dumbass and I need some help, they'll pull out your DD-214 and they will see where you've been. So, well, dang, you were here. And you don't know that unless you get up with one of these smart VSOs. So.
Absolutely, and with the PACT Act, they have got so many of these presumptive conditions. I was talking to a fellow the other night who's actually part of another veterans organization, had no idea about presumptive conditions. He was in the area where he was definitely going to be exposed to Agent Orange for a substantial amount of time, had neck cancer, and it's one of the specific conditions listed, and had not applied, and had already went through it, and he's now in remission, and he's been missing out all this time. He could have been getting that free medical care and free and that extra stipend to help him live while he's dealing with that injury that he's sustained from Agent Orange.
You know, Devin, it's interesting just kind of thinking about what you just said, and this is no joke, no poke or anything, but I think so many people see it as a free care or free support or free benefit. Let me tell you something. It is an earned entitlement.
You're
straight up
right.
what it is.
It's not real. It's not free. When I say free, I mean that it's at no cost to the veteran.
That's
because they did serve, and during their service, they sustained injuries that caused them.
They're paying the cost. With
They
their
paid that
bodies
cost.
and their minds. And
Well, while Army can help teach a Marine different vernacular and language skills, I'm curious how the Marine's going to teach Army math.
You just sit back. I'll show you.
Crayola time.
Hey, y'all, watch this.
It might be written in crayon, but it'll be right.
All right, so Chuck, we got just a few minutes left, and again, I just want to draw back to the impact that Vietnam vets have had on me personally. My appreciation specifically for your generation, not that it's about what you did in Vietnam, but it's about what you've done for our generation, particularly Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm vets, to make sure that we were properly welcomed home. The benefits that I personally have, I accredit to Vietnam vets, and really appreciate you standing up, fighting for those and those of Post 65, all your chapter members, and just thank you for that. So the veterans that are out there, civilians that are out there that are listening, that would like to get involved with Post 65 and the American Legion, how would they go about doing that, and what would you encourage them to do?
They can either come by the second Monday of the month at 6 o'clock at our post, or you can give me a call on my personal cell phone, which is 704-902-2901, and I will respond pretty quick, and we will get the ball rolling and welcome you into our post.
That is awesome.
That's great.
Well, hey, Chuck, we've really appreciated you being on the show. I can't believe the experiences that you've shared with us, and it's just been a great honor. Next week, we're going to have another great show, and we're just excited to have y'all out there listening to us. You've been listening to Pitting the Pieces Back Together, presented by
Pitting the Pieces Back
Oh
Together.
my gosh! Can we roll the music now?
Are you worried about that pink slip?
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Oh man!
You're listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, presented by Purple Heart Homes here on WSIC News Talk Now.
Thanks.
You've been listening to Putting the Pieces Back Together, brought to you by Purple Heart Homes. Please consider making a donation to this worthwhile cause dedicated to improving the lives of veterans one home at a time by visiting purplehearthomesusa.org. Join us again next Thursday at 3 p.m. for Putting the Pieces Back Together on WSIC News Talk Now.